You're so right, Christy. I mean, I think that's our whole culture. It's such a hustle culture, and it's so like we have lost the ability and I can't even, the innate ability to just rest and relax and recover. And I think that's why we have we have so many epidemics of heart disease and gastrointestinal upset and migraines and
Autoimmune
you know,
disease. I mean, the
autoimmune
list goes on
diseases.
and
Right.
on.
Yeah. I really, it's just, it just reminds me of when I was in college and I was a sociology biology major. And one of the sociology professors that I had said, the more we get advanced in technology, the more we will become disconnected as humans. And this was before the World Wide Web and before cell phones were really taking effect. And I was like, what is she talking about? She doesn't, what is that? You know, of course we're going to be more connected. We're going to have cell phones soon. But it is so true. Like, even guilty as charged when we're sitting at a table waiting for our food in a restaurant. And I look around the table and all my family members and I are looking at our phones waiting for our food. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
it's terrible.
yeah,
It's
us
terrible.
too. Us too. But
Yeah,
again, there's that self-awareness piece,
right.
right? So you notice it. As soon as you notice it, you disrupt the default. And then the next step is, all right, how do I shift that?
Right.
One of the things I've been working on is less time on social media because the truth is that social media isn't rest for me, even though I want to say that it is. Oh, I'm just going to
Mm-hmm.
chill out and hop on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. Here's how you know something truly brings you rest and recovery. You feel more energized afterwards.
After.
And so I can get on Instagram, and first of all, I can lose 90 minutes like that.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't feel good after. Now, sometimes I feel really crappy, but most of the time I just feel meh. And
Yeah.
so we have these routines built in. And if we want to change our behavior, remember what I had said earlier about accountability partners. So, like, one of the things that Kevin, my husband, and I, we're empty nesters, that we have started doing is we hold each other accountable. That when we're picking up our phone and we're at dinner, that we don't say anything because we have learned that that does not serve us. But sometimes that can make the other person feel like, oh, okay, then. So instead, we just take our hand and we put our hand on the other person's hand to bring them back to the moment. Another one that he's given me feedback on is we'll watch a movie. And if I start to get bored with the movie, what do? I just start scrolling, and I've given him permission, like, call me out on it because I'm not even aware that I'm doing it.
hmm Yeah, I'm guilty. Yeah.
Well, and if you
So,
think about it, literally, I mean, I call these phones a casino in our pocket.
yeah,
It was created to draw our attention to it. We get
right.
these dopamine kicks as we move through it all the time, and our brains get hijacked. I mean, I find myself sometimes sitting at a stoplight and I can't even sit alone with myself without checking.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
terrifying.
It's very addictive for sure. It's definitely addictive seeking behavior. But yeah, I've actually I hear you because I've tried to find ways to divert my attention and I love to paint and my son gave me this cute little painting thing and it's
Oh,
a
I love it.
travel painting, so like some of my artwork. But I decided that instead of scrolling on the phone while I'm on hold or whatever, I start painting, or his fiance gave me a coloring book, so I started doing that more. Not 100% there, but I too have noticed that when I scroll, I just don't feel great. And I can't even pinpoint it. Why, maybe it was something political, or maybe it was something violent, or maybe it was something that was shaming me, or I don't know. But I just was like, I got to stop doing this a lot. I mean, and we do it under the guise of Well, I'm kind of doing research for my business and wanting to know what's out there, what my
Or stay
competition is, and
connected
what's
to
in
my
it, what.
followers,
Yeah.
or or family, stay connected to my family. The
Yeah.
other thing
Yeah.
that came up for me when you were talking about that, and you said you didn't know how to quite wrap words around it, what popped up for me is the difference between creating and consuming. So,
Yeah.
creating, again, when we talk about rest and recovery, and there's a whole chapter in Wayfinding about managing your energy. I call it your vitality voltage. Oftentimes
Mm.
in the corporate world, which is my space, we talk a lot about time management, but very infrequently, if ever, do we talk about energy management. And if there was one call to action that I would leave your audience with, it is starting to learn how to assess your vitality voltage. Do you know what it feels like? So we've been talking about the phone. Let's use the phone as an analogy, right? I plug my phone in every night. So I wake up every morning and it's at
Right.
100%. But as humans, do we know what our chargers are to plug
Right.
into? And remember, what charged you at 25 is not going to be what charges you at 50 because you evolve. And so, understanding, first of all, to assess where your battery is. Do you know what it feels like when you're at 100%? Do you know what it feels like in your body, in your emotional body, in your spiritual body to be at 60 or 50%? Do you know what 20% feels like? Do you know when you're on low power mode? Right? If I wait until I'm on low power mode to plug my phone in, it takes a lot longer to charge back up. And if it gets
Hmm.
really low, you just get that flashing battery
Yeah.
for a while and nothing even works. I call that burnout for
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Same thing.
So, being able to assess your vitality voltage, and the data that I use in that chapter is around Harvard's data, which is a classic corporate article around managing your energy as executives. And it was like right around 2001, I think, that it was
Okay.
published. And in it, it talks about four different rest and recovery cycles, which I have renamed as batteries in the book. There's a physical battery, an emotional battery, a mental battery, and a spiritual battery. And spiritual meaning meaning and purpose, not necessarily faith and religion, although for some of us it can be that too.
Hmm.
So being able to, number one, assess your battery and know where you are, and then to be a little bit more discerning. And do you know what a physical battery, when it's full, do you know what that feels like for you? And if it doesn't, do you know what your physical chargers are? And there are some chargers that can hit multiple batteries. So I mentioned earlier, I have a Pilates class that I'm going to today. Pilates for me charges my physical battery and also charges my mental battery, because I have to quiet my brain to focus on my breathing. I have to quiet my brain to focus on my body. So that's a charger that does double duty in that way. And chargers can be both active and passive. So we often think of a physical charger. For a lot of us, we say, oh, it's sleep. I'm going to take a nap on a Sunday afternoon, or I'm going to go to bed early. And that absolutely is a physical charger. And also for other people, so is activity and exercise and
Hmm.
moving their body. So that's where the individualization comes in.
I would venture to guess that a majority of people don't even know what it feels like to be 100% in any of those capacities, let alone all of them. You
Agree.
know, I know when you were talking, I'm like, I think I know. I know spiritually, that for sure I know. Um, but all the other ones, not quite sure. Not quite
And
sure.
so, what I would say to that, my friends, is to start where you are.
Yeah.
Right? Which one feels fullest right now?
Hmm.
How do you know it feels fullest? What does that look like? Which one feels lowest?
Right.
Like I know that my mental battery is low is when I find myself in unhealthy thought patterns and
Hmm.
rumination, and I'm
Hmm.
living in my head, and
Hmm.
I'm focusing on what I could have said or I should have said earlier today, or I'm living in the future of well, if he says this tomorrow, then I'm going to do this. I know that my emotional battery is low when I have allowed other people to plug into me.
Mm,
Because just like we can power up, and just like we have chargers, we also have energy leaks or energy drains.
hmm.
And batteries were made to be charged and depleted, right? We plug our phone in every night, we wake up, it's 100%. Throughout the
Right.
day, depending on how much we use it, it gets depleted. And then sometimes, just like leaving your phone outside on a hot summer day, the battery drains.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
power drainers can be people, can be circumstances, can be health conditions,
Hmm.
can be grief.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. I feel like we just scratched the surface, but I think we're winding down on the time here. And I was going to ask you what your, if you had one like parting piece of wisdom for our listeners. I mean, I feel like you just gave us like a million of them just now, um, in a good way. What would that be for you if you were sending me off and we weren't ever going to talk again, which I'm so glad we're not going to do. Um, what would you tell me as a good parting words of advice? A mindset or the way you would live your life, the way you would you would want to be remembered by, that kind of a more than just a call to action, but a mindset.
Let me think a moment, my friend. What feels important to share? That this work of personal evolution is less of a learning and more of a remembering.
Mm,
It is remembering who you were before you became who you thought the world wanted you to be. And if you think you can't access that yet, what I would invite you to do is find the nearest 3-year-old. Because 3-year olds live in the moment. They
mm,
know joy, they know play, they know fun. They know if they're sad, they know if they're angry, they know if
mhm.
they're tired. And so what I would say to that is, so did you once. And if you did it before, you can do it again.
I love that. I love that. You always have a way of like speaking to my heart whenever we we talk. Like just what you say is like I do think about it after we get off the phone. And another thing that I love that you always say is like, oh, I'm running late, or oh, I didn't finish writing my book, or oh, I didn't it'll happen when it's meant to happen.
Yes.
We'll get together when we're meant to get together. And I've used that a lot, Christy, actually, even though so that's my flourish flash, although that's been mine for a while now. But now in this conversation, it was really assessing, you know, our fully chargedness in all those four pillars. So, it's something that I definitely going to sit with for a while and journal and really see, because in my quest, like the past year and a half has been recovery, but now I'm actually at the forefront of not just surviving, but like really like let's get back, let's thrive now. And that's a big part of that, right? Like those four pillars is thriving and not just barely getting there or just playing not to lose, but not playing to win or playing not to lose. Um, so yeah, so thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to share with us before we say goodbye?
Um, so what came up for me as you said that is the importance of focusing on energy. I didn't realize until about 4 years ago when I felt called to study Reiki how integral energy is to everything that we do.
Mhm.
Again, we think it's about time management, but underneath the time management is energy management and being able to assess your vitality voltage and know where full feels for you and where low power mode feels for you. Being able to have the self awareness of what are your chargers, to find your peers to help hold you accountable to be plugging into them. All of that matters. And it matters because whether we talk about it or not, whether we see it or not, energy is around us always. Think about the last time you were talking with someone and you're like, I don't think you're telling me the whole truth there. How did you know when you walk into a meeting room and you can cut the tension with a knife? When you come home from work and Ben walks into the room and you look at him and you say, what's wrong?
Mhm. Mhm.
How do we know all of that?
Right.
It is energy. And we don't question Wi Fi. We just hop on the internet and we know
Mhm.
that Wi Fi is there. Why do we question energy? And when we have the ability to recognize it, to charge it up when it is low, to be intentional about maintaining it and sustaining it, that's when I truly think we have the opportunity to flourish and thrive. Not all the time, not 100%, because that's not the human condition, but
Right.
recognizing the cycles of, all right, I'm down, I'm at 40%. I need to plug in. So, what does that look like in terms of that's the self awareness? What does that look like in the self alignment of what am I going to choose to do differently?
Right.
What am I going to renegotiate off my plate? Because I could spend time doing it, but what an activity that would, an activity that I do on low power mode or at 30% could take me damn near 3 hours. But if I am at 80% or 75%, it might take me 20 minutes.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Doing the work to get you there will make you more efficient and happier for that matter. It just,
Who doesn't want that?
right. Right. Well, we had such a great treat today with your, tapping into Christy's mindset. And I just absolutely love spending time with you. I always learn something after we're done chatting. And for our audience, if you had a flourish flash and a little light bulb flash of inspiration, please share it. Share it in the comments, repost it, share it with somebody that you know, because people need this. I started this podcast because I felt that in talking to people that there was, we're thawing out from the pandemic still. We still need that connection. We still need that we're still kind of reflecting what happened the past few years. And sometimes when we tap into other people's mindsets and what they're going through, it really can empower us. It really can. So, with that, I'm just going to thank our guest, Christy Uffelman, for being here. Catch her books. They're great. The Wayfinding, and this helped me a lot when we were doing our peer mentoring. We'll have all of her information in the show notes, so be sure to check that. And until next time in the Hive, be kind and flourish fully. Thank you, Christy. Thank you so much. Thank you.